Well, welcome back for those people who've been listening to the previous session, and a very warm welcome to those people who've just joined us for this session. This session promises to be highly illuminating in a number of different dimensions and to help us understand the business model and aspects to live streaming. I'm delighted to welcome back Professor Ivy Dang from the Hong Kong University. Ivy, thank you very much indeed for joining us again.
Hi, David. Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's my great honor to share my knowledge with you on live streaming. You know, this is an exciting topic and exciting new business model. So yeah, I hope you all like this session.
Fantastic. Well, Ivy, you joined us on the very first day. It doesn't seem 4 days ago, or it seems like a couple of hours ago. And we talked a little bit then about the psychology of shopping festivals.
Right.
This session is going to be about the business model of live streaming. And I know that you and your colleagues at the University of Hong Kong have been doing a lot of academic work to understand this sort of new phenomenon, but especially from a business perspective. We've had a number of sessions over the course of the last 4 days that have touched on live streaming. We had one from Mark and Zoe yesterday, which if anybody's watching this hasn't watched yet, I recommend you do it. So just go onto the website that you're on at the moment, and you'll be able to see the link to watch that session. And that was a very practical session to understand exactly what live streaming is all about. Those people who know me and know me well know that I'm an ex-retailer, spent many years in retailing, and you know, I have many things related to retailing that are called Roth's Law. And one of the Roth's Law of retailing is that sales are vanity, but profits are sanity. And I think we have to look at the whole construct of any new channel that's emerged. And I think we should look at live streaming as a new sales channel to understand the business elements to it, the revenue flows behind it, and its path to profitability for both the brand owner and the live streamer and the distribution chain that lies underneath that. Now, of course, I don't think anybody is saying that any single channel these days, you can look at any individual element and just do single point economics on those individual elements. You have to look at the totality of the chain. And as we saw this morning when Group M took us through their understandings and observations from the beginning of 11/11. Again, if anybody hasn't seen that session, that's a must-see session. Please look at it on the live stream. Not now, don't leave this session to do that. They showed us the entire ecosystem of data flows and how you can look at total lifetime value in order to understand how 11/11 might well drive new users and how you can use the costs that you deployed over 11/11 over the course of an entire year for lifetime customer value. So I think it's also important to look at live streaming in the context of all of that. Now, we are going to cover all of that. So we are very grateful for Ivy to help impart the knowledge that she has in that area and the work that I know her and her colleagues are at the beginning of deep investigation. So it's, again, fantastic. Thank you very much for allowing us to get some of that insight before you've published your papers and your findings. Ivy, let's sort of start at the very beginning, which is many people over the course of the last 4 days have talked about, and I sort of paraphrase, but it's probably not too much paraphrase, talking about the transformational nature of live stream as a channel. Perhaps you can just give us an overview as to whether that observation is a lot of hot air, whether it's, you know, the new shiny thing and it will disappear tomorrow, or whether live streaming is something that will be transformational to and create a new channel for all of us globally.
Right. Yeah, this is a very good question. Actually, for me, I think that live streaming sales, or what we now actually call a live commerce, is a new kind of channel, and it's different from the traditional e-commerce, and also different from the brick and mortar store selling. Yeah, so I think for live streaming, it mainly the two new innovative things in the live streaming, that the first is engagement, and the second is it's about instant shopping. So for the engagement, it means that for consumers, think about for traditional e-commerce, right? Whether it's on Amazon.com or Taobao.com or Tmall, you don't interact with the seller, right? It's just the e-stores, every e-store, and you browse the products, you search for the products, and then you make a purchase. But there is no interaction, right? But for live commerce, there is instant interaction with the host. You can send live comments, right? Chat with the host, and they will give you instant feedback. And more importantly, this kind of interaction goes beyond you and the buyer and the seller, but it also involves interaction between buyer and buyer. This is also very different from the traditional e-commerce, selling.
So Ivy, if we sort of split that down from a sort of
Sure.
I call it a historic journey, but it's not that many years in the history of this particular journey. But I suppose direct selling on TV was, QVC invented that many years ago. But in a sense, what you're saying is this is a real step change, because QVC is literally just a one-way. I talk to the camera. I hope that I engage the consumers at the other end. I tell them a little bit about what's going on in real time in terms of, I don't know,
it's
maybe
actually,
there's 5
it's
or
not
6
real.
units left.
Yeah.
You're right. It's not real in a sense.
It's not real engagement. It's the TV, the salesperson, he's talking about the product. It's more about giving you information about the product and trying to persuade you, right? The difference between TV selling and advertising is that it's more persuasive and involves more information, right? Introduce you with the product, but there is no real engagement, right? The TV salesperson does not engage with the consumer, and the consumer is sitting alone at home. They don't have opportunity to interact with other consumers. So I think this is very different from now the live commerce, the live stream selling, where you have interaction.
From your studies, what's the real significance of that last component you talked about, which is consumer to consumer during my live, if I'm doing a live stream now, there's consumer to consumer talking. So I'm talking to the consumer's talking to me, and then the consumer is talking to the consumer as well. What is the transformational structure?
The digital last mile, you mean the conversion, the last conversion, right?
Yeah. So where does it play in the model, and why is it so significant then?
Well, very good question. Yeah, actually, it depends on the tier of the KOL, the live streamer. For the very top tier, like for the mega KOL, for example, in China, there is Austin Li, Li Jiaqi, and Weiya, right? Those two, it's more actually about social influence. They are of course talking, but because they have too many audience, they cannot actually, engage with each individual consumer. So the influence more comes from social influence. When they see, oh, there is like 100 million people joining this live room and they want all to purchase this product, it must be a good product. So it's more about social influence, this part. But if it's like, nano influencer or, micro influencer, they might get a chance to actually give individual consumer feedback, and they may, reply to their live chats, and then on that tier of, more smaller KOLs, I think that is actually the streamers' interaction with the consumer drive the last, nudge towards purchase or conversion. Yeah.
Now, let's sort of delve a little bit deeper into the tiers of live streamers, and then we'll get to look at the flows around them. Austin Lee, they are the top of the top of the top, aren't they? They're not many at that level, are they?
Yeah, no, there aren't many, only two. I think Austin Lee and Via, only these two are the very, very top, the celebrity level of KOL.
And then what's the next level down, the next level after that?
These are the celebrity level, and there are mega level. Mega level, probably, you know, some real celebrity like singers or famous movie stars, these are mega level. And then the macro KOL, then the micro, and the lastly is the nano one. Nano one probably only have, you know, a few hundred or a few thousand followers. Yeah. So there are many, you know, KOL, and for each tier, really on the very, very top, only a few, like two in China. Yeah.
Now, perhaps you can explain to us a little bit then about, I suppose, the process flow of live streaming. Obviously, from a consumer perspective, you turn on your mobile and you're watching a show and you're interacting, and there's a platform that helps you enable to do that. But behind all of that, what are the process flows?
Great, this is a great question. Actually, behind this flow, for live stream platforms, you know, like Taobao or TikTok, right? So they are more like a matching platform where they match the brands with each streamer. Okay, so most of them are actually, it's about matching. So the streamer can approach the brands, and the brands can also approach the streamers. And the brands can open, for example, these online stores and with their goods with commission rate. Okay, it's very transparent commission rate and all different kind of goods. And for streamers, they can actually select these goods. It's like they are kind of the retailer, if you know, if you compare to the offline world. They select some goods into their room. And then when they do live stream, they probably during one night broadcast around 10 to 20 products. And then they make a cut of it, out of it, right? Make some profit. So this is the, I think most streamers are doing this kind of model. It's about matching the two, you know, these two sides have to agree on this deal. Yeah, you want to sell me and I want to help you to sell your brand. However, for the top two, you know, very, very top tier, it's less about matching. It's mainly about brand, top brand approach the top KOLs, you know, give them some fixed fee and plus a very big commission fee. Yeah. So for the top streamers, they don't search. Actually, it's brand who approach them.
So let's again unpack that a little bit, because it's clearly very obvious that live streamers are not live streaming and selling things just as a hobby. It's a business proposition that has economic exchange to it.
Exactly.
And there is a value exchange and value that's created along the process. You know, in the normal, I say normal, I think that's probably a bad choice of words, because the distribution chains are being disrupted on a hourly basis at the moment. But historically, in a sense, you had a manufacturer, you had a wholesaler, and you had a retailer, and everybody took a percentage of the margin, and value was exchanged, and each element of that chain, you might have several layers of breaking bulk in terms of wholesaling and splitting it down, and everybody took a share, and that's how the industry worked. Can you explain to us how many parts of the chain there currently are on within a live stream model, and where are the revenues and the value exchanges taking place? Who's earning the money where in that process? Yeah, so I think comparing to this traditional, you know, value chain creation for live stream, this business model, first, it's usually it's brand who directly can sell some product on the platform. There is not much, like, I think the cost of dealing, the dealers, you know, this third party kind of dealer, it's usually not there. So it's kind of more direct from the business side, the brand side to the streamers. And the streamer, of course, they will have some commission fee, right? So they have incentive to sell your product.
I think here already there are a lot of value created. And speaking of the consumers, they can actually have a very good deal by purchasing from the streamers, because usually the goods sold on the live stream are cheaper. Yeah, and I think for more value is actually created for the consumer. Think about the traditional way. Consumer have to spend a lot of time and energy to search for a good, to search for a good deal. But online stream create so much different diversity of goods. Each streamer have its own taste, right? So they can recommend some goods to you, and the consumer save time of searching, right? So they can directly, look at the recommendation from the KOLs, and they don't need to do the search. And also, according to my research, we found that actually it's an opportunity even for the niche products. In the traditional, this kind of offline selling or traditional e-commerce, because of the recommendation algorithms, and usually it's big brands who take more advantage. But for live streaming, because for streamers are so different, they actually, some will favor some niche products, and these products will get some opportunity to be seen by consumers. Yeah.
Now, you've explained well how it could be work for the consumer in terms of, I suppose, the value exchange being time and effort, and we know that consumers are prepared to trade off things that help save them time, which is, them clearly their most valuable commodity.
Yeah, and exactly, and more than that, actually, except for apart from saving time, they also have this engagement factor. They are entertained throughout the shopping process. The traditional shopping is actually, okay, I shop, that's all, right? But this live kind of interaction, engagement will make consumer feel very happy. They kind of feel they also entertain at the same time. So it's more gratification and more, happiness.
And from your research into this, that gratification is an important element in what's driving live streaming.
Exactly. Actually, we found that, there is not 100% goodness about live stream, but they also cause some problem. For example, we discovered that there are higher refund rate in live stream selling than, traditional e-commerce selling, because consumers, this kind of instant purchase create the scarcity for the consumer at that moment. Because they can see, oh, there are only 1,000 products and everyone is purchasing that. I'm just afraid this deal will be gone. So I make a purchase. But that spontaneous purchasing will cause more regret later. So they have this instant gratification, but after some moment, probably 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later, they realize, oh, maybe, after some rational thinking, I already have this, or I don't actually need it. So, maybe I refund it. So we actually found that the refund rate is substantially higher compared to, this traditional e-commerce selling of the same product.
That's fascinating in its own right. Let's unpick actually then the economics. So of the price that the customer pays, where do what's the percentages, I suppose, in rough terms of, in a sense, who gets what out of that sale price?
Okay, so for streamers, the commission rate usually range from 0 to 20%. Yeah. So there are some zeros. Actually, we find that why they have incentive to sell these products is actually they want, because it's very important for live streamer to have a higher rank in terms of sales volume. So for some very popular products, even if it's 0 commission rate, they would still willing to sell it, because if they sell more, they can rank more on the, this ranking is important for brand, because brand will choose, different streamers based on their ranking, collaboration. So, and then there are also, range from 0 to 20%. So it depends on product category, and it depends on brand, if they are high end, low end, or famous, non-famous brand. Yeah. So this is usually what the streamer can get. And some more famous ones, they can also get a fixed amount of, fee if they can do, this solo sale for just one brand.
So I suppose, a little bit of a model mix then. So some of the models are about driving the live streamers' profile and also helping the live streamer to go up the rankings in terms of.
Yes.
So the rankings themselves for the live streamers are done on the basis of unit sales that those live streamers have achieved.
Purely GMV.
So on GMV, okay.
Yes. Yes.
And obviously the higher
they actually have the public ranking every day, and this streamer, especially professional ones, they will monitor the ranking and they will be nervous about this ranking. And speaking of this model, not only about streamer, actually in China there are many MCN, these agencies. They manage the streamers as a group. Yeah, so these MCN, they also care about their streamers' performance. So yeah, for example, Austin Lee used to belong to an MCN as well. Now he is the leader of his own MCN, and he is also nurturing his own KOL. So this is also a kind of new business model in China now. Yeah.
Well, talk us a little bit then. So in a sense, there's the commission that the live streamer charges. Are there any other costs that the brand has to pay in that live streaming model?
Yes, for brand, actually, as I said, for famous KOL, usually, especially for the top tier, the fixed amount of fee paid to the streamer, no matter, even if they make 0 sales, they have to give this fixed amount. That can be huge.
When you say huge, give us a scale. Somebody like Austin Lee, not saying we're giving away Austin Lee's rate cards, I don't think we know it, but somebody like Austin Lee, and as you said, there are only 2 or 3 at that type of level. What would a fee for Austin be?
Well, I for some of it, I guess it sometimes even can go to, as high as 1 million RMB, I think. Yeah. And or at least 500,000, I think, at least. So for some brand, I have some interview with an anonymous brand. I cannot reveal their name. They actually lose a lot of money, but they still want to do it. Most brands lose money by collaborating with Austin Lee or Veya. That's true, because first of all, the products have these volumes are fixed, right? They can only. And they are giving very good deal to Austin or Veya. It's at the manufacturing price or even below that, meaning they are losing money. Every product sale through Austin is losing money to the firm. But the firms are happy because for the mega or celebrity, these top tier ones, they are more like an advertising model rather than sales model. They actually want this celebrity, KOL to kind of introduce their new product or brand to greater audience. Think about Austin. His audience can be, like hundreds of millions of people, right? This advertising effect is so huge. So it's more like an advertising model in that sense. Yeah. That's why they, yeah.
We've got an appearance fee, let's call it that. We've got up to 30%. And that is of the selling price, so that the live streamer can get. So these costs mount up. Now, talk us a little bit about the difference between a single live streamer and the I suppose the groups that have emerged as live streaming groups. What's the business model of the live streaming groups?
Well, this is like, for MCN, first of all, it's a company, right? So they manage the KOL. And for that company, they actually have a higher, because they're a company, they can directly negotiate with the brand. They just, negotiate the brand and with their group of KOL. So each KOL, they save the time and energy to negotiate when, individually. And also this big MCN company, they will have a bigger bargaining power, right? They are more experienced. They can, they have higher ranking KOLs and they have higher bargaining power. And also when they negotiate with the brand, they will kind of, because they have a combination of KOLs, they probably can let different KOL to sell different product of the same brand. So I think that's also decrease the cost of the brand, because for brand, if they approach individual KOL, that's too many, right? But if they negotiate with a few MCNs, and actually it's equivalent to negotiating hundreds of KOLs at the same time, right? It's like a agency model, you know. For many celebrities, they have their own agency firm. It's just like that, yeah.
Now, I mean, you make an interesting point about the in a sense, it's moving to an agency type of a model. Mm. Do those agencies also curate and select the products that they want their particular person to live stream, or are they just accepting any brands that come along as long as they're prepared to pay their respective fees?
I see. Yeah, good question. I think that really depends on the bargaining power. You know, for the agency, if they really have top KOL, actually the KOL also themselves also have a say, right? It's just like, you know, for a movie star, like, I don't know, you know, like Jackie Chan, for example, right? Yeah. He has his own agent. But the agent can, you know, bring many good potential movies to, you know, or screen scripts to him, and that's just the consideration set. But for Jackie, because he's a top movie star, and he can pick, you know, the one that he favors. So it's similar, yeah. And you know, for small movie actors, and he does not even have too many choices, then he will just accept it. So I think that's depends on the bargaining power of the agency and the KOL.
Well, in a sense, these people are movie stars. It's just a different type of movie.
Exactly.
It's
you
a
are
more
right.
interactive movie, and it's a movie where you can, you know, you can sell things during the narrative storyline. I'd like to. I think that's helped us understand the business model behind. I'd like to just delve a little bit in the short time we've got left to talk about some of the research that you've uncovered into the motivations, because I think there are a lot of people who will be watching this, who will be interested in understanding what the consumer motivations are, and therefore the relevance for their products, or even the storylines that they need to talk about for their products. You talked a little bit about the fact that for certain consumers there's a sort of a fear of missing out, which is why when you say you've only got, you know, a few hundred of these items left, you feel compelled to buy the product. But what else is it about the live streaming process? Is it about demonstrating, showing the product? Is it about that interaction between other participants and consumers? What is it that you would say typifies the compelling proposition that's making this so attractive to consumers? And then how relevant do you think that will be right across the world?
Yeah, right. Well, it's a question that I think I cannot answer in one single sentence. I think actually it involves all the elements you mentioned. But if let's take a step back, okay, thinking about how live stream becomes so popular, right? So just take Austin Lee as an example. He actually began his live streaming business as a KOL for lipsticks, right? He's a lipstick king, right, at that time. So why his fans would wait every day, late at night, to waiting for Austin's stream? Because he picked the best lipsticks for them. So at the beginning, it's really about a KOL, key opinion leader model, in a sense that Austin is a KOL of the lipstick. And every lipstick, and he will select some rare kind of color and discover some brands really good and recommend that to his fans, audience. And if some lipsticks, the color is not good, and he will be honest, tell them, oh, please do not buy that kind of lipstick. So it's the traditional kind of, I think, the KOL recommendation model, in a sense that his fans trust his taste. And secondly, they can interact with him. So that's the beginning of his story, right? So now when he becomes so popular, right, different categories approaches him, and he's now being selective and picking the good deals and good products. And still, when my friends and my family are waiting for Weya or the Austin's live stream, it is because they trust their recommendation. I think this is still the case. And the second, it's a good deal. Yeah, because they have, for Austin and the Via, they really have a big bargaining power, over brands and company. They will have the lowest price globally, in their live stream, and it's really good deal. So the consumer can save a lot of money, and in the same time, they also create more engagement, entertainment element in their live show. For example, every live show now, they will invest a third person, another celebrity. It can be a sports star, Olympic champion. It can be celebrity like, a movie star in China, most famous movie star. And it can be Jack Ma. Remember, like years before, Jack Ma also joined Austin's live room. So this kind of
so they had a competition, didn't they, about
who sells the most lipsticks, and of course Austin won, right? He's more expert in that. So I think still, to me, if answer a question, I think it's still about the recommendation. Yeah, I think if I gave a suggestion to brand, is to pick the right streamer, the right KOL. Yeah. And another finding from my research is actually not every brand are willing to join this live stream model, especially for luxury brand, for example. Actually, it's very rare for luxury brand actually still. I think they are still hesitating on whether to join this model.
Yeah, I think actually we've seen in this year's 11/11 over the last few days that the luxury brands are embracing it more and more. I think it's a different type of live streaming.
It's a different type. For the everyday kind of daily live stream.
And I think some of their live streaming is almost one-on-one live stream. It might be a very select group of people who are invited.
Exactly.
And a lot of it is about storytelling of the brand as opposed to...
It's more about advertising, right? Branding effect. Yeah, less about just about sales. Yeah, for small brands, it's they care about the sales. They just want to sell, have more revenue and sell more. The more, the better. They care about the number of products sold to consumers. But for famous brand, they more care about their brand image and the long-term effect of live streaming. That's why I think for high-end and big brands, they only collaborate with these top-tier KOLs. Yeah.
Now, Ivy, you're an expert not just in marketing, but also in consumer psychological behavior.
Psychology. Yeah, that part I have little knowledge, but I hope, can share it with.
Is there anything that you're seeing from your initial phases of your academic research on live streaming that suggests that live streaming as a new sales channel can't be adopted around the world? Is there anything about it that is from a psychological perspective is more attuned to the Asian consumer than consumers right across the world?
I think actually it's possible, for other countries to adopt a similar this kind of business model. Yeah, especially given for it's already digital world, and for Generation Z, think about them, right? They are born with the digital devices, so they are comfortable communicating with people or interact with people online. And I actually are more optimistic about online this live commerce in other world of in other countries and different regions of the world. Yeah, I think it's promising. Yeah, it's already happening, by the way. For TikTok US, this already, I think they announced that they will collaborate with Shopify, to create this kind of live commerce channel.
Well, Ivy, it's been a fascinating discussion. I'm afraid we have run out of time. I think you've given us a very interesting perspective on the business end of live streaming, and the relationship between it being an economic proposition from a unit level to its ability to be able to drive traffic and trial that you can then use at other times of the year, and clearly the importance at the very top end of live streaming from a brand perspective. Ivy, thank you very much indeed for joining us live from Hong Kong. Professor Ivy Dang from the Hong Kong University, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, David. It's my honor, and thank you for other people who are watching this. And I'm very happy to share my knowledge with you.
Thanks very much indeed. Well, in a minute, it's going to be movie time. And then after movie time, please rejoin us for another live session, which will be with Jack Porteous from Summer Camp. But for the moment, from me, David Roth at WPP on our Global 11/11 shopping festival broadcast in conjunction with Alibaba. Thank you very much indeed for joining this session. Please stay for our movie time. Get yourself a sandwich, a cup of tea. Enjoy the movie time, and I look forward to seeing you a little bit later on. Thanks very much indeed. Goodbye.